My name is Rocio. I am a business consultant with the Minority Business Development Agency of San Jose. We are funded by the U.S. Department of Commerce and operated by Asian Inc. Asian Inc. is a nonprofit located in San Francisco, so we also have a business consultant that works out of that office. Myself and three other consultants who work out of the San Jose office. We service all of Northern California, so if you are a small business outside of the Bay Area, don't worry, we are still able to help you. Each of us has a different expertise area. Myself, my experience is in fundraising, online marketing, and contract management. My colleagues have backgrounds in finance and technology and various different fields. So if you come and your initial meeting is with myself, but I know that somebody else might be able to help you, I would refer you to the other consultants. So as I mentioned, we are part of the U.S. Department of Commerce. We are also funded by the state of California to small businesses. So our services are completely free. If you would like to become one of our clients and take advantage of our free consulting, trainings, and resources, we are available to you free of charge. And this is a measurement of our success is how much revenue we can help you generate, how much capital we can help you access, how much finance we can help you access, whatever avenue we take in order to get more capital into your business. That's how we measure success. So if we don't successfully help you, then we have not successfully done our job. So we, make appointments with you to check in on all of your projects, all of your applications, and we work to ensure that you get the one-on-one consultation you need in order to be successful. So I just got a message from my colleague Porter, and it seems like he is now in here. So I will give him the mic so that he can also speak a little bit to our services. Give me 1 second here, everybody. Let's see, Porter.
Hello.
Okay,
Hi.
Porter, perfect.
Yeah, hi. I'm having a little bit problem with Zoom right now, so therefore you cannot see my face. So I'm basically, so I work with Rocio, and basically assisting small business to for training, and also for the nowadays is the disaster relief fund or loan, either from federal government or from the state government, or maybe city also.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So Porter, I have on the screen a list of our services. Would you like to expand a little bit on the certification and procurement process?
Yeah, so for procurement, so basically when clients come to our business centers to sign up, we will help them to connect with potential contracts from the city, state, or federal government, or some of the Fortune 500 companies. So both private and government contracts. And then for the business certification, that is almost a requirement if you want to get an advantage for winning a contract if you are a minority business owner. So there's like many different types of certification. So the best is like if you're interested to learn more about certification, please contact Rocio or myself, and we will, sit down with you. Or actually nowadays, like basically, have a video call or phone call with you and explain, like what kind of certification you might need and also the process.
Yes, exactly. So as I mentioned, all of the Consultants on our staff have different expertise areas, and Porter and specifically is very well versed in technology startups, as well as how to go out for venture funding and things like that. So if that is an avenue that you're interested in, definitely please reach out to Porter. And we will share all of our contact information with the group at the end of the webinar. So let's see here. So yeah, as Porter mentioned, we help access to different contracts. And sometimes that means growing, right, in order to meet your measurements. So if that's something that you need funding for, we can help with that. So even though right now we have a very specific crisis going on, we're always here to help with these things. So this is just an expansion a little bit on what Porter mentioned as far as the different services that are available around certification. This is a list of the different certificates that we've helped clients with in the past. Each one of them is might be specific to different jurisdiction areas. So some of them apply to Caltrans contracts, some of them apply to maybe city contracts or state contracts, and we analyze the opportunity with you to make sure that we are applying to the appropriate certification and not wasting your time or your resources going after things that might not necessarily be applicable to you. And Porter, your mic is still on if you'd like to chime in with anything I say. So this is
yeah, sorry. So basically, if you sign up our business, as our client, so what we would do, the first thing is to basically to understand, the type of business you're in and the size of company, some basic information, and then also in what areas are you interested in terms of procurement. And then we will work with you and then to identify potential procurement opportunity. And also for funding, we will actually go out and look for funding for you, not just within the state of California. We basically do a nationwide search for you.
And as I mentioned, we're dealing with a very specific health crisis at the moment. So we do obviously we have adjusted to the new reality with the shelter-in-place mandate. So as Porter mentioned, all of our consultations are remote, whether that is with a video conference similar to this setup or a phone call. The way that we work with our consultations is we have an initial conversation with you to get to know your business, get to know what your goals are, and work on a timeline and just different steps to get you there, right? From then on, we'll check in with you regularly, depending on how much help you need, whether that's, once a week, every 2 weeks. Maybe it's something that has a due date that week and we're talking to you every day. It just kind of depends with what you're dealing with, and we determine that engagement together. We are also hosting online webinars. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about one set of loan opportunities and how to apply for that. And we would help you make sure that all of your documentation that you submit is accurate, and hopefully you won't have to hear back from the lender with more requests because that delays processing times. And we provide other technical assistance, including referring you to trusted partners if you are looking for a new insurance carrier, if you're looking to get bonded or anything else like that. We have relationships with different vendors that we know, that they will set up an appointment with you and follow back and make sure that that gets done in a timely manner. Porter, do you have anything to add?
No, yeah.
Great. And so this is my email here. And like I mentioned, I'll be sharing this presentation as well as Porter's information, my information, Sonia's information, and how to become a client of our agency in order to receive all of these free resources. Since we don't have too large of a crowd, I will go ahead and take a quick pause to see if anyone has questions so far. There is a feature on your attendee window that should allow you to raise your hand. Oh, there we go. Carlotta, you're on. You would just have to unmute your mic. Perfect.
Okay. Sorry I'm late to this, but my question is regarding startups. I think you said there was support for startups, and I do have a startup that we just launched recently. And how do we get information on how to get support for startups? Because I think all of the other information is regarding all of your revenue for the last couple of years, and we just jumped into
Yes.
this, several months ago, and got our pitch deck and we're moving forward. How do we get support there?
Well, you've definitely come to the right place because that's exactly what Sonia is going to be getting into. So if there is no other questions outside of that, then we'll just go ahead and dive in and take more questions towards the end. So Sonia, I guess that's your cue. You're up.
Okay, thank you and good morning, everyone. I just want to make sure that I have my share screen open. So let me know if you see it.
Perfect. We see it.
Okay, great. All right. With that, I go right into the presentation. My name is Sonia Brooks. I'm Regional Director of Business Development for NorCal Financial Development Corporation. Today I'm going to talk about the Jumpstart and Disaster Relief Loan Programs under the iBank of California. A lot of people aren't familiar with iBank, so let me just explain quickly. It is the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank for the entire state. Its purpose is to act as a financing authority throughout California for all businesses, and it was created by legislature in 1994, although it's been around longer than that, at least some structure of it. So it was created to finance the public infrastructure and private development. So its goal is to promote a healthy climate for jobs, to contribute to a strong economy in the state, and to improve the quality of life in all California communities. Under the California Infrastructure Bank, or iBank, there are 4 programs, and they're constantly evolving. The programs include the Infrastructure State Revolving Fund, or ISRF program. There are bond financing programs. There's the California Lending for Energy and Environmental Needs program, which is huge, and the Small Business Finance Center, which is what we're going to talk about today. And if you want to know more about the programs, there's a web link below, and it'll be included in the shared presentation, so you'll have access to that. So under the Small Business Financing Center, which is created to help small businesses, including farms, the farming community, to gain access to capital throughout the state to create jobs and retain them, while encouraging investment in low to moderate income communities, which is key. Under this SBFC, there are 4 partnerships. NorCal Financial Development Corporation is one of 4. I work with NorCal FDC. So as you can see, there are 4, and we work regionally. In a central area, it's California Coastal and Rural Development Corporation, which is from Sacramento and throughout central California region. The Pacific Coast Regional Small Business Development Corporation is in Southern California. And then there's the Valley Small Business Development Corporation, which is primarily San Joaquin Valley area. So under the SBFC programs, there's, as I mentioned, there's a farm loan program. There is the California Small Business Loan Guarantee Program and the Jumpstart program. Today, I'm only going to talk about the Jumpstart Loan Program. Okay, so it's this program primarily is for individuals or small businesses or a startup that's located in the state of California where the proceeds are going to be used in California. The criteria is that it must be a low wealth entrepreneur with a business located in a low wealth area or in an area where a disaster has been declared. The qualifications are based on the statewide average gross income area to qualify as low income. This is just the area qualification. It must be located in a qualifying county where the per capita income is equal to 115% or less. It must be located in a city or unincorporated area where the unemployment rate is equal or greater than the statewide average. Now, this was based on the policy created for this loan. Let me just emphasize, if you Google and look up those rates, it won't matter. This was based on 2016. And at the time, the state employment or unemployment rate was at 5.4. So based on the Jump Start loan, on the qualifying areas, which actually limited the loan to only certain areas. So as far as counties, it was restricted to, other than in Northern California, but closer related to our area, that would have been Alameda County, Solano, San Joaquin, and Sacramento. In Alameda County, the location where the business would have to be registered is Oakland, San Lorenzo, Hayward, Ashland, and Cherryland, which are other unincorporated areas around Hayward. Okay, now this is the exception to the rule. Because of the COVID-19, the policy and requirements to meet the area requirements for the Jumpstart loan, falls under disaster relief loan. So the policy has been open to include all areas that have been impacted by COVID-19. So that means in California, now all the counties qualify for the Jump Start criteria, or individuals or businesses that meet the other qualifications or requirements can apply for the Jump Start / disaster relief loan. So what that means is that the borrower still is required to meet the low wealth cap of $53,000. That's a gross income. It means that the business clearly is located in a declared disaster area. We know that all the counties meet that requirement. The borrowers are located in what's declared as the disaster area. So prior to this, it would have been, for example, the Camp Fire area or the Woodsley Fire and floods. These were areas that qualify for the disaster relief loan program, and without the low wealth income area restriction. Now, in order to qualify for, I'm going to go back here. In order to qualify for the disaster relief loan, it means that the borrower is required to buy a first and second year of financial documentation that shows how they've been impacted by the disaster, meaning that you demonstrate a loss of income or loss of your projected income compared to previous years. That is to apply as a disaster relief loan borrower. And I know that that may need a little more clarification. I'll be happy to do that at any time. Moving on, the borrower's qualification for whether it's Jumpstart or disaster relief. The gross income for the borrower, not the business, may not exceed the statewide average, again, of $53,000. They're required to provide a current credit report within the last 30 days. And it, absent of liens, absent of any collections that are open liens, collections, or a bankruptcy that has not been dismissed. The exceptions are any collection, lien, or bankruptcy that has been paid and closed, or if that borrower is in an active workout agreement or settlement contract with the creditor, then you would provide a letter of explanation with a copy of that contract agreement that shows that the intent to resolve the debt. Now, for uses of funds, it's pretty much open. The use of funds can be used for as a startup business. It can be used for property. That's not personal property, but property in relation to the business. Buildings, if the borrower happens to, let's say, own a building. Or it can be used towards acquiring machinery, equipment, inventory, or tenant improvements. Now, more on the terms of this loan. The loan amounts are at a minimum $500 and a maximum of $10,000. It is fully amortized 5 years, which is 60 months. It's at 5% interest plus the current Wall Street Journal rate. Today, that's about 3 1/4. So you're looking at about 8 1/4 of interest on this loan. And that can go up or down depending on the Wall Street Journal rate. The fee, which is deducted from the loan proceeds, is a one-time fee of $300. The payments are monthly. They will begin 30 days upon receipt of funding or once funding has been released. You can pay off the loan anytime in advance. There are no prepayment penalties for this Jumpstart or Disaster Relief Loan. Okay, for documentation and processing, what's required, and this is very critical, and this is where your technical assistance will come in handy if you need it. You're required, or borrowers are required, to provide a recent filed personal and business tax return. So that means your 1040 or whatever form that you use plus your Schedule C. And it must be recent or at 2018 or 2019 is required. And one of the reasons is that they want to see, one, that the borrower did file taxes and that there's evidence of the income requirement. And there are some other calculations based on how much you're earning, your cash flow, and the ability to pay the loan back. The other requirement for a new business is a business plan. Doesn't require 40, 50 pages of a business plan, but at least the details of your business, what you're doing, your experience, who are your clients or projected clients, is very important to know these things and to demonstrate that you have the ability to make the business successful. If it's an existing business, a summary of experience, history, and purpose of use of the funds. The other important items are the financials for the business. That's either a pro forma or a projection of those finances. That is your profit and loss, balance sheet, income statement. And primarily for existing business, or at least the projections of a new business. Business license, where it's registered, is required. The other items may be required, such as insurance, personal financial statement with assets and liabilities, particularly your personal expenses such as your household expenses, your rent. Again, the calculation, they're looking to see that you have the ability to service the debt, including the loan payments. Collateral should be listed if you have it to strengthen your position for those who have maybe a weaker or poor credit history. A credit report is required. If you have a commercial lease agreement, a copy of that would be required. And now the time to process the loan, right now, the estimated time is about 3 weeks, but due to the demand and urgency of this loan, it could be longer. Your monthly payments will begin again once you've been issued a check for the full amount. Your payments begin 30 days from that date. I also want to take this moment to say, this is not a permanent or a loan fund that's set in place. This is comes from federal loan for the programs. And once the loan has completed or exhausted, it is up to the state to renew it. So there's minimum slots and minimum funding available for this loan. So if you're interested in applying, my recommendation is that you do it as soon as possible. Okay, now with that being said, that's the end of my presentation. And I'm sure you may have questions, and I'll turn that over to Rocio. In the meanwhile, you can always visit the iBank website, and my contact information is listed. You can email me or contact me at either of those numbers. With that, I'll take it off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. So she gave us a lot of information on the process and the requirements, and I'm sure that you guys might have questions. So if you do, go ahead and use the raise your hand feature that you'll see on the attendee panel. So if you hover over your name, I believe you should be able to see that. Or you can just go ahead, and at the bottom of your screen, there should be a Q&A button where you can also submit questions. So some highlights that I took away from your presentation, Sonia, is that there is some documentation to put together, including a credit report, right? And there are some steps to clean up that credit report that can be taken if the credit history is not the most favorable. So that process can be a little intensive. So if anybody participating today would like some consultation with that, that is definitely something that Porter and I can help you with. It's just putting all of those documents together. If you don't have a P&L sheet, helping you to put that together as well, thinking through your business and seeing what the most relevant information to share with Sonia for the application would be. Let's see, I think I pulled out a question as well. Oh, I see. So Sonia, I know that there are 2 different pools, right, that you mentioned. That is the disaster relief qualification, or also the area specific traditional qualification, right? If you do fit within both of those boxes, do you have a preference as to how someone should apply?
Thanks for the question. No, I think if the person or the borrower meets both qualification, they should just submit their information. It will fall, ideally, we'll take it, the hierarchy will be Jumpstart, although their use of funds are in their summary of why they need the loan may be based on how they've been impacted by the COVID, or that again, if they're an existing business and they can demonstrate that this is going to impact their income, or, you know, and it doesn't really have to be an existing business, but the disaster really is to help businesses that are already existing rather than a startup. If they're a startup, they should do it under the Jumpstart, or if they're existing business in operation and they fall into any of those geographical areas under Jumpstart, then they should do it under Jumpstart.
Okay. So if you do qualify for both the Jumpstart and the disaster qualification, the priority would be Jumpstart.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have one more question submitted. So I know that you said that there's about a 55K income limit, and somebody just wanted some more clarification on that. I know you said that it was going to be personal income. And is that based, their question is that based on the adjusted gross income?
No, that's a good question. That 53,000 is a gross. So that's their gross income for the individual. So let's say the individual is self-employed, or they have a business, they could have employees, but the amount that they pay themselves and that's reflected on their tax return shows a gross of 53,000 for themselves.
Okay.
So it's not adjusted. It's not after they take out, deductions. It's the gross income to meet that low wealth borrower requirement.
Okay. Carlotta, I hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions from participants? Let's see. Okay, I believe. Do nonprofits qualify for either the Jumpstart or the disaster loans?
Actually, yes. No, I will have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure. The reason I say that is because, and I'm not going to get into the state loan guarantee program. That's a whole nother animal in itself. It's not a direct loan, but nonprofits can apply. So I do believe that under the Jumpstart, I'm about, I would say 90% sure, but I will confirm that if they send me personal email, or I could let you know, and you can answer that question, but I'm pretty sure a nonprofit would qualify.
Okay, and then Porter, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Okay, hi Sonia. Actually, I have a question. So I bump into a lot of people that they are sole proprietor, right? But then they also on like 1099. Like let's say people work for Uber, for example, right, or Lyft. Will they be qualified to apply for the Jumpstart loan?
Porter, hi, good morning. That's a
morning.
really good question. And it gets a little more technical. Now, the requirements is that although they may be a 1099, but as a sole proprietor, it means that they have to have registered themselves as a business. Although they may be a 1099 employee, but they're contractor. And as a contractor, they need to establish themselves as an entity, which means that they register in the city that they live in as a doing business as. So if I, Sonia Brooks, work for Uber, or I contract with Uber, then I need to register myself, Sonia Brooks, doing business as Sonia Brooks Transportation. And it means that I'm paying taxes to the city. That means I have a DBA registration that has been published in a newspaper. I have a business account. So they need to establish themselves as a business, and that's the distinction.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question, Porter.
Perfect.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great.
And for everyone listening, if that's a step that you need to take to become either incorporated or registered with the city that you're doing business in, again, that's definitely something that Porter and I can help you with. Any other questions? All right, let me see my notes here. Okay. Now, Sonia, I know you mentioned that you wanted to see financial statements and things like that from any applicants. Now, does that include bank statements?
No, bank statements are not required.
Okay. Okay, so I think that was my last question. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate you taking the time today. You know, I know Sonia has been working really hard with her clients and with us to get this information out to everyone in a timely manner. We will also be sharing this webinar, the recording of this webinar with you for your reference, including the presentation, so that you can always come back and see the information, as well as share with any other business owners that you think could benefit from the opportunity. And as I mentioned, Porter and I are here. You'll get our information in the emails as well. Please feel free to give us a call as soon as possible if you want to submit an application to the NorCal FDC. There are also other resources that we can help you reach out to. So we look forward to hearing from you and hope that you're all doing well. Sonia, Porter, if you guys have any other remarks before I let everyone go.
Yes, just one last thing that I failed to mention. I know credit oftentimes a big hurdle for a lot of low wealth borrowers, but I want to let them know, you know, they can work with you and Porter on their credit, but also to know that FICO score does not matter. You could have 400 FICO score, you could have 700 FICO score. What matters is the credit history, the recent credit history, and that's why it's required.
Okay.
So I hope that helps put a little ease to things.
And of course, if you want to talk through that more one-on-one, you're always welcome to set an appointment. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that this helped you kind of think through some of your plans for the next few months. Goodbye.